What is going on, everybody? My name is Kneeckoh and welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet VGC Series 3 video. Today, I want to sit down and talk about, right before we have, the official rule set go into play on the ladder, I want to talk about what Pokemon I feel are going to be in the top 12 usage rates in Regulation C. Now, I say top 12 instead of top 10 because that is what the Pokemon Company does at the regional events. So that's just kind of the format I wanted to follow. If this is your first time here on the channel, make sure you are subscribed for more competitive Pokemon content like this from me daily. Let's get into it. All right, so I think that the first four are incredibly obvious. Now, these are in no particular order. I think they are in no order. I think the biggest one to think is Flutter. Is still going to be like #1 usage. Fluttermane will still be at the tippy top of the list in usage stats because, I mean, we added 4 new dark types to the meta. What's good into dark types? Fluttermane, right? So I think Flutter is going to remain tippy top of the usage stats. But I want to first break down the initial 5. I guess I have 5 because I was going to start with the Ruinous, but I added Flutter. Question before we go any further, though, let me know in the comments below what you think the top 5 Pokemon are going to be in Regulation C. So, obviously, we have to talk about Chien-Pao. Chien-Pao, Wo-Chien, and Ting-Lu, all of these are going to be very, very high in usage stats because it's almost silly to not include them on a team. It's very, very silly to not have at least one of these on a team, if not 2 of them. So I think it's very obvious that these Pokemon are going to be extremely high on the list. I think in terms of which ones will be highest, I think Chi-Yu and Chien-Pao are actually going to be really, really high. I think Chi-Yu and Chien-Pao are actually going to be the highest simply because of the fact that people love offense. They just do. There's no way around it. They just simply enjoy doing a lot of damage very quickly. Where I think these two are truthfully going to be the bigger threats of the format simply because of the fact that bulkier teams play more consistently. If you look at a lot of tournament results, it's just the fact of the matter is that teams that are able to rotate and kind of help each other out and take hits do better than the teams that have a lot of damage but get knocked out very quickly. Just the way it is. But I definitely think in terms of ladder specifically, that Chi-Yu and Chien-Pao will be very high on the list. In terms of tournament usage, I think all of these are going to be pretty high. I would almost argue that Wo-Chien and Ting-Lu will see a bit higher usage at tournaments. We'll know at Fort Wayne when I'm playing what the usage stats actually are. I personally am taking Ting-Lu. I'm a big fan of Ting-Lu. I think it's a really strong Pokemon, and it's my favorite of the Ruinous Legends. I think it's really good. Wo-Chien being a close second for me, but my team that I want to run is Ting-Lu all the way. On that note, there was a team that I was kind of prepping, messing around with that had both Ting-Lu and Wo-Chien because it's really, really good. They're both just super bulky and fun to use, but I think that these Pokemon are going to just be very prevalent. Now, again, Fluttermane, it's going to be there. If you think Fluttermane's going anywhere, think again. It plays into all 4 of these very well. You almost have to Terra these 2 Pokemon to deal with Fluttermane in any capacity. These 2 are your Terra targets to deal with Fluttermane. And it's just going to be a menace. Now, it does speed tie Chien-Pao, which is a bit interesting. So we may see some item changes on Fluttermane. Maybe we'll see it, under a Tailwind team. Maybe we'll see it with Booster Energy instead. But definitely something to consider there is that Chien-Pao is a speed tie, and it's something that is very threatening to a Fluttermane. Next up, I don't think Bundle's going anywhere, folks. I think Bundle is staying exactly where it is. I think Bundle's very good. Now, I do think there is a potential that we see it have a bit more Focus Sash usage, mainly because of the addition of the Ruinous Legends. Because if you consider what Bundle does, right? Bundle is just fast. It's fast. It sets Icy Wind. It does Encore things. Nothing really changes about Bundle with the Ruinous Legends other than the fact that its defense gets a little weaker and its special defense is already crap, so who cares how much lower that gets, right? So you can imagine that like a bundle like this is going to get much more common because who cares if you get knocked down to your sash, you're still going to outspeed and allow your other Pokemon to do a ton of damage, right? So I think Bundle, maybe with a Focus Sash, sees more use than Booster Energy, and we start seeing Booster Energy on more things like Fluttermane. Iron Hands is another one. It's not going anywhere, folks. It's not going anywhere. It is a glue Pokemon. It is just super good. It has great stats. It does a ton. These are the 2 moves that make it so good. Slow Volt Switch is great, and Fake Out is phenomenal, right? It's all around just a great Pokemon. Drain Punch, again, is powerful into all of the Ruinous Legendary Pokemon that are currently available. It's good into every single one of the Ruinous Legendary Pokemon that are being added in Regulation C, which means that Iron Hands is going to continue being a very good Pokemon. So, just something to consider. It's definitely going to be prevalent. So, Pikalytics does not yet have the updated list from Utrecht regionals on what their usage stats were at the Utrecht special event, or however you pronounce it. So we don't know exactly, but we do have the Bokum results. And looking at this, immediately, Amoonguss, I don't think is going anywhere. Amoonguss is just a staple Pokemon. It's always going to be good. It's never not going to be good, right? So I don't think Amoonguss is going anywhere, and I think it's a Pokemon that we're going to see pop up a lot, especially at Fort Wayne, because, you know, typically when you get into a new meta and everybody's trying to figure stuff out, what's a good Pokemon to fall back on? Amoonguss. Amoonguss is always going to be reliable. Arcanine is one that, again, is not going anywhere, especially when you consider the fact that, like, Chien-Pao exists. Like, having Chien-Pao be a Pokemon and lower the defense, having a Pokemon that can come out and immediately go, hey, we're lowering your attack, that is huge. So I think Arcanine will actually probably see a jump in use due to Chien-Pao. Now, a Pokemon that was really high that I think we don't see at all is Great Tusk. I don't think Great Tusk is actually very good in this current metagame. There's just too many things that outspeed it and mitigate what Great Tusk does. I just don't think it is as reliable as it was in Series 2. I think we may still see it pop up occasionally, but I think it definitely drops off going into Regulation C. And I think the same thing can be said for Goldango. Goldango, I still think, again, like Great Tusk, is going to pop up. Specifically the Water Terra variant of Goldango, but I just don't see that many Goldangos popping up in this new format. It just is a Pokemon that is handled extremely well by all the new Ruinous Legend Pokemon. It just doesn't like this new format very much. Now, the next Pokemon that I think is going to remain on top is Dragonite. Dragonite is going to continue to be awesome. It's going to continue to be phenomenal as a Pokemon. Just because, well, one, it's great on its own. Like, it doesn't need Chien-Pao to be amazing, but put it next to a Chien-Pao and lower the defense of the other Pokemon, and this Pokemon just starts eating even more than it already did. So this is definitely a metagame where Dragonite continues to thrive, and just, it's been a dominant force the entirety of Scarlet and Violet, and will continue to do so. So we've got 2 slots left. There are 2 more Pokemon that I think are going to pop up a lot, just a ton. I don't think Dondozo does. Honestly, I think Dondozo sees a small drop-off. Armarouge and Didi, we won't see them at all. I think that the Ruinous Legends just kind of mitigate everything that those Pokemon do, and it's just not very solid. I've hardly seen any of it on the Regulation C ladder. So I really just don't think that we see any Armarouge and Didi really in the top 12 or even maybe the top 20 Pokemon used. But one that I do think we will see is Kingambit. Kingambit is one that just won't go away. It just won't. It's gone away for a bit and come back even stronger than before. And it's a Pokemon that I think will continue to thrive moving into Regulation C, especially with, you know, the Assault Vest variant that a lot of people are running. Having access to Brick Break automatically makes you a threat to all of the opposing Ruinous Legend Pokemon, but then you just are all around a very powerful Pokemon with priority, so you can deal with like bundles and flutters with Sucker Punch. Your Iron Head's going to be very good into like one of the most popular Terra typings on Wo-Chien, which is Fairy. Chien-Pao likes to go into Terra Ghost, as well as Chi-Yu both like to go Terra Ghost, and you can handle that pretty well with a Kingambit. So I think that Kingambit is one that will just continue to thrive in the Regulation C format. Now, I'm actually turning this list into a top 13, and I think it's because the last 2 are pretty much tied. Because I think the one is just so good that it's just going to keep popping up, and the other is going to see an increase in use. The first one that I think is going to see an increase in use is Mousehold. I think Mousehold with Friend Guard is so phenomenal in Regulation C, paired with a Wo-Chien or paired next to a really any of them. Wo-Chien, Ting-Lu, you got Chien-Pao and Chi-Yu. All of those are really good next to a Mousehold. If you look at Chi-Yu, you can play Mousehold much like Goldango next to a Chi-Yu, where you just follow me and let Chi-Yu do a bunch of spread damage with Heat Wave. Put it next to a Ting-Lu, and what is it? You know, what does a Chi-Yu even do, right? A Chi-Yu Fluttermane combo, they do nothing to that duo, right? Put it next to a Wo-Chien, you're now being able to take special attacks even better. And I see a lot of people picking it up and putting it on their teams the further we get into Regulation C, because it's just so good. Especially when you consider the fact that you can just Super Fang and like lower Wo-Chien or Ting-Lu to half health just like that, it's just a really good Pokemon to have on a team to deal with those big, bulky threats. And the last Pokemon I want to mention that's technically in 13th place is Palafin. I think Palafin remains incredibly good and will still be used pretty consistently in Regulation C. I think that this Pokemon will continue to just be a dominant force as a water type attacker because of its priority with Jet Punch, just being as powerful as it is in the rain or just with a Terra Water. It's just such a good Pokemon, and I don't think that changes going into Regulation C. Obviously, it has new threats that it has to deal with, being in the form of like Wo-Chan. It doesn't do a whole lot to Wo-Chan, so you have to be careful with that. And it does get bopped pretty easily if a Chien-Pao is on the field. You're lowering that defense substantially, and you're able to do some big damage to it. So there are some things you have to be more careful about, but I don't think that Palafin is going to drop off in use. And there's a bunch of other Pokemon that I could possibly put on this list. Like, I think Glimmora is going to see a huge spike in use. Glimmora is going to be something that's very, very prevalent, as well as Gothitelle. Both of those two Pokemon I could definitely see getting a spike in use moving into Regulation C, because they both play very well with the new Ruinous Legends, particularly the bulkier two with Tinglu and Wo-Chan. Those Pokemon play incredibly well moving into Regulation C, and I definitely see them getting an increase in use. But there are the Pokemon that I think are in the top 12, technically top 13. I tie Mousehold and Palafin if it makes you feel better. There's 12, right? I think these Pokemon are going to be at Fort Wayne the ones that you see the most when they show here are the usage stats for the teams on day 1, here are the usage stats for the teams on day 2. These are the Pokemon that you are going to see on those particular lists. But that is going to be it for this video, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm curious what everybody else has to say. I think this just makes the most sense because of what this format is and how things are shaping up. You're really not changing too much from Series 2. You're just adding a Ruinous Legend and then pairing it with the Pokemon that were dominant in Series 2. But like I said, let me know your thoughts. If you found the video entertaining and helpful, leave a like and subscribe for more daily competitive Pokemon content from me. Also, check out the Discord where people over there hanging out playing Pokemon all the time. And if you want to see more from me, check out any of these videos on screen. It's probably a bunch of moveset guides or VGC stuff. I don't know. I've recorded like 6 videos today to get ready for Fort Wayne week, so I don't have to worry about it while I'm prepping for the tournament. But until next time, peace.